North Carolina Congressman Mark Meadows firing back at FBI agent Peter Strzok over newly released texts the congressman says reveal a media leak strategy within the DOJ to hurt President Trump. Both men accusing each other of dishonesty and misrepresenting the facts. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, he sits on the House Judiciary and House Oversight Committees. He joins us now. Congressman, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So what should the American people take away from these messages that we've now seen, in addition to the fact that we're seeing this war of words between Meadows and Strzok's attorney?
Well, I mean, the argument that Mr. Strzok's making just doesn't hold water and doesn't pass the smell test. I mean, remember, this is the same guy that said, we will stop Trump. This is the same people who said that, you know, Trump should lose 100 million to zero. So their bias was pretty darn clear from some of the earlier text messages we see. Now we see that there was a media strategy, a leak strategy to influence this whole thing. And we know this from the Inspector General's report. I remember one of the things the Inspector General cited, Sandra, was 13 different FBI people who were working with one reporter. Now, if that doesn't point to some kind of media strategy, leak strategy, I don't know what does.
We're all left wondering what exactly that is, because here's what Strzok's attorney issued via a statement. The attorney said, quote, the term media leak strategy in Mr. Strzok's text refers to a department-wide initiative to detect and stop leaks to the media. The president and his enablers are once again peddling unfounded conspiracy theories to mislead the American people.
Yeah, if their strategy was to stop the leaks, they sure didn't do a very good job because they were everywhere. Also, remember this, the dossier was the key. The dossier is what they took, uncorroborated, a non-credible dossier they took to the secret court to get the warrant to spy on the other campaign. That dossier was buttressed by leaks that they were giving to the press stories that were coming from the FBI, coming from the very sources who put together the dossier. It is never supposed to work that way, but in fact it did. And so now for them to say, oh, no, we were working to try to stop this, just doesn't pass the smell test, as I said before.
I want to make sure that we highlight this text that was first outlined in that letter by Mark Meadows, the Republican from North Carolina. It said, I had literally just gone to find this phone to tell you I want to talk to you about media leak strategy with DOJ before you go. And Meadows is obviously making the case about the media leak strategy, while Strzok and his attorney are saying that that text is being completely taken out of context.
Yeah, I mean, again, look at the history. Who are you going to believe? I think Mark has it exactly right. I think Peter Strzok, with all we've learned about him, remember, he was the key agent. He was the guy who ran the Clinton investigation, started and ran the Trump-Russia investigation. Remember, all these key people at the FBI. James Comey, director, fired. Andy McCabe, deputy director, fired. Peter Strzok, deputy director of counterintelligence, first demoted, then fired. Jim Rubicki left the FBI, chief of staff. Jim Baker, chief counsel, was first demoted, then left the FBI. And Lisa Page, FBI counsel, was demoted and then left the FBI. Those key people ran both of these investigations, and now they're telling us, oh, don't worry, we were actually trying to work this out and stop the media leaks, when we know the media leaks were used to buttress the dossier when it was taken to the FISA court. Just doesn't hold water.
Politico's got a big, turning the page a little bit here, it's got a big piece out on you today titled Right Mounts Campaign to Make Jim Jordan the GOP Leader. Have you had a chance to read it?
I have not read it yet. I've heard about it, but I have not read it yet.
Let me tell you, it says a collection of outside groups wants the Freedom Caucus co-founders to succeed Paul Ryan, but rank-and-file members aren't likely to abide. First of all, do you want that job?
Well, yeah, so I've announced that if we keep the majority, and that's priority number one, then I'm planning to run for Speaker. What I will tell you is almost every major conservative organization across this country is supporting us. I've been shocked and pleased with that kind of grassroots support we're getting across the country. I was in Texas yesterday helping two of our candidates. The grassroots support I got there from people was very strong. So we'll see. But the main thing is to keep the majority, and then, in fact, if we do, I would like to lead our conference, lead the House of Representatives, because I think we've got to focus on one simple thing: doing what we said and helping the president accomplish the things we told the voters we were going to accomplish.
Well, and that is what the leaders of these four prominent outside groups, conservative groups, is the case that they make in this article. I'm sure you'll check that out at some point today. Jim Jordan, the congressman, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Sandra.